The moment that I realized that I could actually just up and leave the United States, honestly, it was like being born again. Except this time with a giant weight lifted off me. My step has been lighter, my mood more jovial, and my outlook far brighter as the domestic troubles of the US have dimmed in importance, and I gain a clearer view of the exciting adventures I have ahead. The realization that I'm a people pleaser to an extreme degree only came recently, and it came with a heartbreak that I have absolutely no intent of going through again. I also just stopped and really thought about my life for the first time ever, maybe, and realized that I have always been a people pleaser from a very young age, doing extra chores, getting a job at age 8, shoveling snow, doing whatever it took to have people like me. That's what I thought the key was. If I do stuff for them, they will like me. And trust me, after several decades of being that way, that is quite a realization to have when you're 51 years old. Existing in capitalist society obviously is a wildly compounding factor. The contradiction is that I was so dedicated to serving and helping others that I often worked in careers where I didn't make a lot of money, and I would often go out of my way, and to my detriment, to help others. No better example of that than buying a house that I probably couldn't afford at the time because my parents needed a place to live as their health and financial situation declined. When I did finally realize the people-pleasing dominance in my life and wanted to start changing, I realized how completely hamstrung this system has me. Starting and growing a new business, owning and maintaining a house, dealing with tenants and an elderly mother, picking up door dashes to make ends meet, it was all a constant, exhausting grind. A grind I have been doing for decades. I've been constantly working hard, just scraping and scrapping, trying to get ahead, and I finally get a little bit ahead, and then every single time that rug will get yanked out from under me. Oftentimes through no fault of my own. But what I started to realize is that in these situations where that rug got yanked, I never put myself first. I always had someone else that I was prioritizing above me, and that's why I would end up in such a bad situation after the dust settles.
How do you know? How do they know they killed you?
I'll also admit that the turn that our government has taken towards a much more authoritarian fascist presence in our lives has had a huge part to do with this. Over the last decade, I have firmly lost faith in about half this country, and it's mind-boggling what's happened, and I don't see a path back. It is so deep and so entrenched now. I'm beyond flustered with the whole thing. Pattern recognition knows it's going to get a lot worse here before it gets better. That is stressful and casts a pall over everything. It feels like something that cannot be escaped, and frankly, why would you want to stick around and deal with that if you can get away? I wish I had a moment of epiphany to use when I'm talking about this, but I think it was more just the crystallization of this realization that I had that, wait, I actually can just leave. I don't have to stay here. I don't have to be tied to everything that's going on in this country. My fate doesn't have to be tied to the political outcomes that we're going to have one way or the other. I could actually just move. I realized that I would have to have a tough conversation with my mother and that we would have to make sure that she's taken care of. But at the end of the day, there was that harsh realization that there was one thing that was holding me back. Me. So that's how we got here. I am moving to San Cristóbal de las Casas in January and hoping to resuscitate a long extinguished dream to write, to tell stories, and to live a life of real adventures. So I'm really hoping this process of learning to get to know myself better, to look more inward, and to finally make myself the person that I look out for first is a process that I think is going to be worth documenting. I hope it's going to be worth documenting. I really hope that I end up somewhere not just geographically different, but also spiritually and emotionally much different than where I am right now.